Let's Talk Money. I'm your host, Ron Williford. Today, our topic is going to be Medicare. I have a special guest here today. Her name is Sheila Stith, and I consider her the guru in Medicare. Hello, Sheila, and welcome to Let's Talk Money.
Hi, Ron. How are you today?
Great. Sheila, tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience with Medicare.
Well, Ron, I sell Medicare in actually the products that I sell health, life, long-term care, disability, and but my primary focus is Medicare and Medicare supplemental plans. And I actively write Medicare Advantage and Medicare supplemental plans in 27 states, including Alaska.
Wow, you go to Alaska?
I go to Alaska.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I like that. Now, we're currently in the open enrollment season, and I know a lot of folks it's an opportunity for them to review their plans. I would say, what are the biggest changes from last year to this year in the Medicare arena?
Well, in this service area, there are a lot of new players in the service area. There's a whole lot of new carriers in the service area, and it's important for Medicare beneficiaries to make sure that with the new carriers that have come to the service area, that all their providers and doctors are in these plans networks. Don't just be enticed by the zero premiums.
Okay. Now, what qualifies you for Medicare? Is it based on age? Is it based on what factors allow you to participate in the Medicare health care?
Well, what qualifies you for Medicare? You must be a citizen or U.S. resident, 65 and older, under 65 and disabled.
Now, so disabled, so you don't have to be 65 to qualify?
No, if you're disabled, if you're deemed disabled by Medicare, you can receive Medicare benefits.
Okay, now I think the scariest thing for me is I start seeing all the alphabets, the A, B, C, D, E, F. What do they stand for? Like, what's an A plan? What's a B plan?
Well, Medicare has 4 parts.
Okay.
Part A is your hospital. Part B is your doctor visits, outpatient services, lab tests. Part D is your prescription drugs. And Part C is what's called Medicare Advantage. And what Medicare Advantage does, it bundles Part A, Part B, and Part D all together in one singular plan to create Part C, which is Medicare Advantage.
And then you add in the supplements, and the supplements do what? What do they particularly cover?
Well, let me explain. Supplements, people use the term supplement interchangeably with Medicare Advantage.
Maybe that's why I'm confused.
Yes, a lot of people get confused. People use that term supplement, like I said, interchangeably with Medicare Advantage, but they're 2 totally different plans with Medicare, and they operate 2 totally different ways.
Okay.
Now, a true Medicare supplement actually works with your original fee-for-service Medicare, because Medicare pays 80% of the Medicare covered expenses, and then the supplement pays after Medicare and picks up to 20%.
Okay.
Therefore, allowing you kind of the ultimate flexibility. You can go to any doctor, any hospital you choose, as long as the doctor or hospital accepts Medicare assignment.
Okay. Now, does it work like a traditional medical
traditional
plan?
Medicare.
Okay. Now, is it what we call a PPO, HMO, or?
Well, that's the other part I was about to explain.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Let me do you do your thing then.
So the Medicare Advantage plans, which people always say is a supplement, but it's not really a supplement. Medicare Advantage plans operate in place of your Medicare.
Okay.
You never lose your Medicare, just the person paying the bills changes. So, like with traditional Medicare, Medicare is the first payer. They pay their 80%, and then the supplement picks up to 20%. But with your HMOs, your PPOs, your point-of-service plans, your private fee-for-service plans, with those plans, do they operate in place of your Medicare? Meaning, if you enroll in a particular carrier's HMO or PPO plan, then Medicare will pay that carrier to take care of you.
Okay.
So what you do is you follow the terms of that particular carrier's plan, and then that particular carrier is responsible for paying your bills.
Now, if I came to see you and I wanted some advice on which plan to take, what's the biggest driver for the cost that I would pay? Is it health related, or is it just based on the services that I that I need or need to acquire?
Well, generally, what I usually do in my office is I do an analysis for each Medicare beneficiary.
Okay.
I need to know what your needs are, okay? What doctors do you see? What medicines do you take? What's your lifestyle? Are you a person that travels a lot? You know, you might want to go with a plan that is more portable, like the supplement plan, if you're a person that travels a
Okay.
lot. Not that the Advantage plan won't satisfy your needs if you're a traveler, but it just makes it a little easier for you, because with the Advantage plans, in most of them you have worldwide coverage for travel in an emergency or urgently needed situation.
Now, with the Medicare, is that worldwide, or do you need the supplement to cover you? Let's say you're in Canada and you get sick, so you need the supplement to cover you because Medicare doesn't cover you outside of the United States?
Yes, but what happens is your supplement will pick up a percentage of your, if you have an emergency situation,
Okay.
they will kick in where Medicare doesn't pay anything. The 80%, they will pick up the 80% for up to a $50,000 lifetime maximum.
Okay. See, I mean, I've seen a lot of seniors that have come in and they're just totally confused.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do to kind of ease that anxiety?
Again, what we do is we sit down and, health insurance is a real personal thing, and it's really something that is important. So you have to sit down, and when I do my analysis, I try to make people comfortable, find out, what's most important for them. Is it the cost? Sometimes cost isn't a factor. People don't mind paying more if they're going to pay. Like to give you an example, with the supplement plans, you pay a higher premium up front, but then you don't pay co-pays as you go along.
Okay, so it's
Whereas
depending on your economics and your finances.
Correct. And then
Okay.
with the Advantage plans, you pay a substantially lower premium, but you pay co-pays as you go along.
Okay.
Okay, so some people, it just depends. Some people like to pay as they go, and then some people, if you're ill, they don't want to have to worry about co-pays.
Now, what about pre-existing conditions? Are they covered? Are you automatically covered, like the quote-unquote Obama plan, or pre-existing conditions? Are they considered as a part of you being able to get this coverage?
Okay, that's a great question, Ron. Because with the Medicare, it comes back to when I said people use the term supplements interchangeably with Medicare Advantage. With Medicare Advantage plans, as long as you have Medicare Part A, Medicare Part B, you live in the planned service area, and you don't have end-stage renal disease, which is kidney dialysis, you can enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan, and you don't have to worry about the pre-existing conditions.
Okay, any other pre-existing conditions? Just that renal?
Right.
Okay.
Because if you have end-stage renal, it's will not qualify you to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan. But with the Medicare supplement, your first 6 months of eligibility for Part B is the best time to get into those type of plans.
Okay.
Because what I always tell my clients is, in those first 6 months of eligibility, both your arms could be falling off. We wouldn't even have to tell the carriers that your arms are falling off, and they would have to accept you because you're in your own personal open enrollment period.
So in other words, if the only thing that could prevent you is the renal, even in an open enrollment period?
No, in your personal open enrollment period, there's no underwriting.
Now, what is considered your personal enrollment
The first
period?
6 months, your first 6 months of eligibility for Part B.
And when does that become available? Is it 6 months before your birthday, 6 on your birthday?
Well, it could happen at different times.
Okay.
If you're a person aging into Medicare, and suppose you're working for a company that has more than 20 employees, then you can waive your Part B until, say, you decide to retire at age 68, and then sign up for Part B. So at age 68, you'll be in your personal open enrollment period for that Part B. So during that 6-month window, there's no underwriting if you wanted to sign up for a supplement. getting back to what you said as far as the Affordable Care Act, with the Affordable Care Act, a lot of people think that you can't be denied coverage under Medicare for pre-existing conditions, and that's inaccurate information as to it relates to a Medicare supplement once you pass that 6-month personal open enrollment window.
So, in other words, if you don't take advantage of that 6-month open enrollment, then you're going to be subject to some additional underwriting?
Yes, you'll be subject to underwriting, correct.
Okay. So if I'm not doing well health-wise, you need to take advantage of that.
Of that 6-month window, because we don't even have to fill out complete underwriting questions during that 6-month window.
Okay.
But month 7, we have to complete underwriting questions.
So there are no knockout questions in the 6 months, or just
No.
you're breathing and we'll give you
Exactly.
coverage? Okay. Now, at age 62, I know that you can get early Social Security. Are you still qualified to get Medicare, or do you have to be disabled to get Medicare?
If you're under 65, you have to be disabled to get Medicare, but you can enroll at 62 for your Social Security monetary benefits.
Okay, but the health care doesn't kick in
Until 65.
until 65. Okay.
Unless you're disabled.
Just wanted to clarify that, because I know that you can get Social Security early. I just wasn't aware that Medicare, you'd have to wait till age 65.
Yes,
Okay, not unless you're disabled.
not unless you're disabled.
Okay, now, hypothetically, let's say I'm still employed and my company offers health care. Would it be wise to use the company's health care or to use Medicare? Or is it all determined by my out-of-pocket?
Well, I usually tell people, again, use the word analysis. I usually do an analysis because a lot of the companies today are going with a lot of high deductible plans.
Okay.
And depending on your medical situations, it may be in your best interest to come off of the group plan and go onto a Medicare plan, maybe a supplement or an Advantage plan, because it sometimes it's more cost effective for you than being on the employer plan, and sometimes the coverage is even better because of the high deductible plans. So you really just have to weigh your options.
So there's no restrictions if you work to be able to get Medicare? Because I know with Social Security, if you work, there's certain limitations, restrictions, but with Medicare, there's no restrictions on the amount of money you make, or?
Well, the
Or your
financial
income?
side, there may be some monetary restrictions, but as far as the medical, no.
Okay, that's good to know. So it's basically looking at your situation, finding out what your situation is, and then determining what's the best route to go.
Correct. But I will say, add this to your statement, Ron. The one thing that I run into with a lot of Medicare beneficiaries that continue to work past 65, what they do is, if they work for a company that has less than 20 employees,
Okay.
even if they take advantage of that particular company's medical benefits, they still must sign up for Part B. Okay, because Medicare has particular rules as to who pays first.
Okay.
And if they work for a company that has less than 20 employees, then Medicare pays first. So they would need to be enrolled in Part B, because Part B is our benefits, that our patient service benefits that we use most often.
Okay.
Okay, but if they work for a company that has more than 20 employees, they can waive the Part B until they decide to whether they're going to either stay on the company's plan. If they're going to stay on the company's plan, they don't need to get Part B until they retire
Okay.
and come off the company's plan. Or they can sign up for Part B if they decide that they just want to have the company benefit.
Okay, now the
Have
interesting
Medicare benefits.
thing you said is that you have to enroll in a certain period of time in order not to do the medical questions. Let's say I'm working, I haven't retired. Do I still need to enroll prior to a certain date in order to avoid the underwriting? Let's say
Okay.
I'm 68. Do I have to apply at 65 and waive not to take it now? Is that how you do it, or
Okay.
how do you?
I think I confused you. The key is
Okay.
when you're Part
It's
B.
not hard.
The key is, so if you decide that you're going to continue to work And again, I'll repeat, working for a company that has more than 20 employees, and you decide, okay, because Medicare encourages Medicare beneficiaries when they turn 65 to enroll in at least Part A if you're going to continue to work.
So at least Part A.
At least Part A, it's encouraged for you to, when you turn 65, 3 months before you turn 65, to enroll in Part A.
Now, what if you don't enroll in Part A?
They encourage you to do it. Okay. They encourage you to do it, but what happens is if you're going to continue to work, like you said, till age 68, and you work for a company that has more than 20 employees, so you can waive your Part B, meaning you take your Part B later. So then when you turn 68 and you sign up for Part B when you retire, what happens is then you get, at 68, you get that 6-month personal open enrollment period, where both your arms can be falling off, and we, wouldn't have to tell the company because you wouldn't have to do the underwriting questions.
So basically, you sign up for A, then you can waive B until you're really ready to do something. Then,
correct.
Okay, now that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Now, there's been some law changes with the whole Medicare situation.
Are you talking about the MACRA law with the with the Medicare supplement?
Yes. How does that work?
With the new MACRA law, the MACRA law states that if you are 65 or older as of 12/31/2019, you can apply for Medicare Part C or Plan F.
Okay.
In the future,
what is F? What is F?
F is the most comprehensive Medicare supplement plan. Okay, for Medicare beneficiaries that are aging into Medicare as of January 1st, 2020, okay, Plan F and Plan C will not be available to us.
Okay.
Okay, Plan G will be G plus other G, N, A, B, C.
How long is that? Is it all the way to Z or what?
No, there's only different states offer different Medicare supplement as far as the letters, with the A and the B, and Plan N and Plan G and high deductible G. But Plan G really mirrors Plan F with one exception. It does not cover the Part B deductible.
Okay. Now, we're in the state of Pennsylvania. How many alphabets do we have?
Okay, Ron, you really tested me now. Okay, so we have Plan A, B, well, through the end of this year, we'll still have C if you're 65 or older as of December 31st. So I think we have about 8 in Pennsylvania.
Okay. So
I think it's like A, B, C, F, G, about 7 or 8.
Okay. Now you explain what F
Remember,
is.
Ron, I write in 27 states.
Okay.
So,
I'm concerned about Pennsylvania right now.
So, I have to,
Now, let's say you're traveling intrastate. Now, if I'm a resident of Pennsylvania, let's say I'm in Florida, I get sick, does it honor Florida's rules or does it honor Pennsylvania's rules or the state of residence?
Well, depending on which plan you have. Now, remember, the Medicare Advantage plans, which are the HMOs, PPOs, point of service, you have worldwide coverage, so an emergency or urgently needed situations. And then with the Medicare, it's not a problem either because you have that ultimate flexibility, remember, because Medicare is the first payer, so Medicare is in all 50 states.
Okay, so me as a consumer, I'm sitting down, what should I be aware of? What should my checklist be when I'm considering Medicare and the supplements or whatever else? What should be on the top things on my checklist?
Well, what I would do is sit down and really write down what your needs are. Okay, what your needs are. Are you a person that likes the PPO model where you just want to be able to go, have that flexibility to go wherever you want.
Okay.
Okay? If you're a person that you want to pay, again with the PPO, you want to pay a lower premium and you want to pay as you go along, then you might want to look at the Medicare Advantage plans. Okay? But when selecting a Medicare Advantage plans, a common misconception, people think that PPO plans do not have a network. But PPO plans have a network.
Okay.
But how they differ from HMO plans, you have to get all of your services in network and get referrals from your primary care doctor, who's the gatekeeper, to go see specialists. Because that's what your primary care doctor's responsibility is, to coordinate your care with an HMO. With the PPO plans, they have a network also, and with the PPO plans, when you stay in network, you save money. But how it differs from the HMO, it allows you the flexibility to go out of network at a higher out-of-pocket cost for yourself. Okay? So those are the kind of things. So people get enticed when new carriers come into the area because the first thing that they say is, oh, we're a PPO. But I always tell my Medicare beneficiaries, when you're looking at other carriers and they say, I'm a PPO, then you ask them, do they have an HMO?
Okay. Is that important? Or?
The reason I tell beneficiaries that to ask that question is because if they have a PPO and they look up your doctor, have an HMO and they look up your doctors in the HMO network, then you're more than likely that some of those doctors are going to be in the PPO network. Because what you don't want to do is say, oh, okay, this particular carrier has a $20 specialist copay, so I'm going to sign up for that particular plan, and the premium is a zero premium, and then what ends up happening is all of your providers that you see are out of network. Because then your out-of-pocket expenses will be much greater. You would have been better off by paying a premium, and having a higher copay for the specialist if all of your doctors are out of network. Because
now how do you get to a zero premium? How does that work?
There's a lot of companies that have zero premium plans.
Now, how do the costs come in? Because I know if you pay a premium, that's a cost. So if you're paying a zero premium, how is that factored in the cost?
What the carriers are saying is, because remember, to back up a little bit, do you remember when you were working and when you got your paycheck, you had that tax come out called the FICA tax?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, that FICA tax is made up of two components, Social Security and Medicare.
Right.
So when you work 10 years or 40 quarters, you get Part A premium free. That's what people always say, the free part of my Medicare, when nothing's free.
I've never made that correlation
Okay,
before.
so you paid for that Part A.
So you already paid for it.
You already paid for it when you work 10 years or 40 quarters. That's why it's premium free. But that FICA tax, we contribute such a small amount of our FICA tax towards our Part B, and Part B is what we use most often.
Okay.
So what happens is, that's why we all have to pay a premium for our part out of our Social Security checks.
Okay. But that's right. Yeah, you pay for Medicare.
Right. So you pay you pay a premium for the Part B out of your Social Security check.
Okay.
So when you have the zero premium plans, is what the carriers are saying is they don't need any additional money to administer that plan other than that Part B that Medicare is going to send them when they take care of you. Remember with the Medicare Advantage when I was telling you? So Medicare sends, a portion of that one depending on, what you pay, because there's a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different premiums, I should say, for Part B. The new numbers just came out for 2020. So if your modified adjusted gross income for the prior 2 years, when you talk about 2020, so that would be 2018, is $87,000 or less, and you sign up for Part B, then your Part B premium will be $144.60 a month.
Okay, so everybody pays basically the same premium?
Well, no, everybody's paying different premiums.
Okay.
Because if this year in 2019, what happens if your modified adjusted gross income on your 2017 tax return was 85,000
Okay.
or less, you pay 135.50.
Right. Now,
But-
go ahead.
But if it's higher than 85,000, then you pay a higher Part B premium. And there's levels. The more income you make, the higher your Part B as well as your Part D premium will be.
Okay, now I know can you explain the prescription? What is it, PACE?
PACE is a prescription assistance program.
Okay.
But Part D is the prescription drug part of your Medicare.
Part of Medicare. How does PACE work? How does that correlate to Part D?
Well, PACE is a prescription assistance program that's funded in Pennsylvania when people play the Pennsylvania lottery.
Okay, I hear the music in the background.
When they play the Pennsylvania lottery, that funds our PACE program. Our PACE program is for seniors 65 and older.
Okay.
It's not for Medicare beneficiaries. It's for Medicare beneficiaries that are already 65 that meet the income guidelines.
Okay, now what are those guidelines? Because I think a lot of people have the misconception that it's based on something else, not income. What are the income reasons?
You can go on to PACE online and they'll give you the guidelines, because there's PACE for the lower income individuals and then there's PACE net for
Okay.
the higher income individuals.
Okay, great. And just to wrap things up, if I were to come to your office, what do I need to bring with me?
But I always ask Medicare beneficiaries, bring your list of doctors if you take any. If you see any doctors, bring your list of medications, and then we would do an analysis and make sure that, we find the right plan that fits your needs.
Okay, great. Well, Sheila, our time's coming to just a close. I'd like to thank you for coming in today and chatting with me about Medicare. Is there anything else in closing that you would like to just mention that someone would need to be aware of?
Yeah, I would just like to tell Medicare beneficiaries that we're in the annual enrollment period, and it started October 15th. It ends December 7th. Make sure that you check your plan. If you decide to stay with your current plan, that's fine, but you should always review your plans every year.
Thanks for joining us today. I'm Ron Williford. Let's talk money.